Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Rubbin' is Racing Daily Fantasy NASCAR Show, brought to you by FantasyDonks.com, your one-stop shop for everything you need to know to start playing daily fantasy sports. I'm Sean Big Papa Williams.
I'm Jamie Lear, Jet Lear.
And unfortunately, I'm getting small boxed here on FaceTime, so you'll have to look at Jamie's ugly mug for the majority of this broadcast. But we'll still be able to get you the content. We'll still get you all the content that we normally do. The myafib.risk.com 400 from Chicagoland International Speedway is the race this week. That is a mouthful, but it's actually a really good site with a really good cause, helping people check for stroke awareness. A really good cause that we should all. So make sure you check out the myafib.risk.com. It's a really cool sponsor this week for the NASCAR race. Lear, do you have anything interesting to bring us on the track breakdown, such as weather or anything unusual at Chicagoland this week?
Yeah, so I'm going to give it a go here too myself. So the myafib.risk.com 400 from Chicagoland Speedway. I think I got that one without a tongue twister there. But it's located in Joliet, Illinois, which is southwest of Chicago. Track is 1.5 miles in length, 267 laps to complete this 400-mile race. Average number of cautions here is about 7.5. So, this 1.5 mile track, it's one of the fairly common tracks that they do run here. It's a D-shaped, basically like Kansas Speedway, tri-oval track, where the turns are about 18 degrees. Track is 55 feet wide, so it's pretty wide. So these guys will be racing side by side quite a bit. There are multiple grooves here at Chicagoland, so it should make, for some fun racing. Low grip raceway as well, so guys on the lower side are going to have some grip here. Obviously they won't be able to go as fast as the guys on the towards the concrete there towards the top of the racetrack, but it's one of those that basically it's the first race for the start of the Sprint Cup, so it's a very, very important race to these guys to get off to a great start, especially if you're one of the 16 trying to make that sprint for the Chase Cup. So. As far as the weather goes, it's 74 degrees tomorrow, partly cloudy skies with 0%, so we're not going to have a chance for rain this race. Winds east-northeast at 4 miles an hour, so hardly going to get any push from the wind there. It will be Sunday, September 20th, which is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. And one little fact that I wanted to put out there this week that I thought that was fairly interesting. In the last race here, so in 2014, 7 of the top 10 finishers started later than 11th when they started this race. So quite a bit of place differential going on here. And then also on top of that, throw in 3 out of those top 10 finishers started later than 24th. So there's going to be a lot of moving around and jostling during this race for sure.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a repeat of that again this year. Mostly because we didn't have qualifying because it got rained out. A lot of the qualifying went on the earlier practice, and a lot of the guys had their cars set up for the race trim, not for the qualifying setup. So they weren't even out there trying to pace for qualifying, like trying to get their car set up for qualifying.
Right, and that too, it was canceled yesterday due to rain. So
yeah, it was a monsoon. We got it here too in Kansas City.
Oh yeah, it was pretty bad yesterday.
But with that said, just one other thing about the track: the bottom of this track is really tore up because of the weather in Chicago in the winters. There's a lot of potholes. The drivers complain about it. It takes away a lot of the good low line racing here. There are a couple drivers that love to just sit on the high side here. It'll be really good racing, really interesting. Hopefully we avoid most of the wrecks, but probably not with a bumpy course like that, because all it takes is those cars getting up in the air just a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But with that said, let's get into our race breakdown, which is the Who's Burning Rubber segment.
Burning Rubber, baby!
And my first pick for Burning Rubber this week is Kyle Busch. He's $10,600, and that's a hefty price tag, but he qualified 7th. Keep in mind, they didn't have the qualifying trim on the car. That was the race trim that they were running when he got the 7th qual. He has a win, 3 top 5s here at Chicagoland. I would argue that he's hands down the best driver in the best car on the best team right now. And even though I think crispy M&Ms are a terrible invention, he is out of control when he rides on that crispy edge in that car.
Oh
And
yeah.
I just think with the chase going on, he's going to be balls against the wall and going for it this week. And I just love that he has the ability to move up with that 7th qualifying spot. Give me some
Yeah,
extra
definitely,
points.
man. I love Kyle Busch this week too. Unfortunately, I couldn't fit him into my lineup
Mm-hmm.
just based on his price point because I do have a couple of the guys that I like a little bit more. But definitely, with him starting in that 7th position, he should be up there and should be vying for the win this week. And definitely, I think he's going to lead some laps this race, especially with the cautions. Strategy is going to come into play this week too. But we are talking about a 267 lap race, so we're not completely all in on guys that are going to be up towards the front like these smaller tracks with those 400 or 500 lap races. This is only 267, but I definitely think that he is one of the guys that will lead some laps, definitely have some fastest laps. And with him being in the 7th spot, if he does take it home, that's a nice little 7th place differential there. So, but his one of those guys that he really does like these 1.5 mile tracks. He is from Las Vegas. So that is a mirror track of this type of track. Same here as we have in Kansas. But you definitely have a good pick there, and I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah, he's been the king of the 1.5 this year, and it's how he got into the chase. He had to win back against the wall, did it. Now that the chase is on the line, I think he just gets it done. Lear, who's your first pick to burn rubber this week?
So my first burning rubber guy this week, I know we've been on him the last couple weeks, and then last week when we did our show from the Caesar's Palace pool area there, which was kind of nice, a little different than what we're doing this week.
Yeah, I want to apologize for that getting posted so late, guys, but you saw the pool at Caesar's. It was Vegas, it happens. We ran a little late.
Oh yeah. But my first burning rubber guy is Keselowski. Brad's one of the hottest drivers basically right now on the Sprint Cup Series. He performs very, very well at these 1.5 mile tracks. And obviously with this being the opening weekend of the chase, he's definitely going to be one of those types of guys that wants to get out and have a nice big lead. Look for him to, obviously have a great start. He's starting in the 3rd spot behind Harvick and his teammate Joey Logano. So look for Logano and Keselowski to work together at the beginning of the race to get out front, lead some laps, have some fastest laps. In last year's my AvFib risk.com 400, he started 25th, finished 1st. So huge place differential there. He led 62 laps. And in his last 4 races here at Chicago, he has started 6th, 13th, 2nd, and 25th with finishes of 5, 1st, 7th, and 1st. So he loves these types of tracks. I look to him to have a lot of laps led, number of fast laps. But most of all, I look for him to be a repeat winner this week, and I look for him to take home this myafib.risk.com 400. And I think he's going to take it home. The Penske guys have been really hot, and they are all both up front. So his cost is $10,400, so pretty pricey. A couple hundred behind Kyle Busch, and basically he's 3rd highest as far as cost behind Harvick and Kyle Busch. So
yeah, basically it came down to me whether or not you wanted to go Keselowski or Busch, and I just spin up to go Busch. I have no problem either way you want to go, but you can't get both. It's undoable.
Yeah, it really is.
So,
I think a lot of players too, depending on your contest that you're going to be focusing in on, you could go for one of those top 3 dogs of Harvick, Logano, Keselowski, Busch, one of those top price guys because there's only a couple of them, and then you got Matt Kenseth at 10,300. And then it kind of drops off the table after Kurt Busch at 10,000 to Jimmy Johnson at 9,200. So definitely, grab one of those 5 guys who you think's obviously going to be your pick to take it home this week.
Yeah, I think that's the right strategy. So my second burning rubber.
I'm sorry, I was going to say. So who's your second burning rubber guy?
Yeah, I'm going back to good old reliable. I'm going with Jeff Gordon. Look, he's 8,400. He's qualified 10th, with them advancing the practice numbers. I've been saying it all season. He's due. He really is. And
Yeah,
there's been some really cool, like, magical buzz around the track with him being in the chase, running at it for the like with in his last season. It's something special. A lot of drivers wouldn't get that chance just mathematically; they'd have been eliminated by now. But he has that chance. It's a gut feeling. I think he has something really special in store for NASCAR and all his fans. I think he's going to make a run at it. I really do, and I think that run starts here at Chicagoland. He has a win here. He has 6 top fives in 12 races, so that means half the time he finishes top 5, which automatically gains you 5 points over his qualifier. 50%. Those are odds I want, right?
sure.
And at the 8,400 price tag, he doesn't hurt you. He actually fits in really well, and with the stack that I've got going for today's race, tomorrow's race, and I feel really comfortable putting him in at the 8,400. I don't think he's going to fall back. I think we're going to see him get it done, and I'm all in on Jeff Gordon this week.
I think $8,400 price point for this guy is basically right where it needs to be. He hasn't been tearing it up lately, but he hasn't been really hurting you either. But he is one of the Sprint Cup guys too, going for the chase. So he's going to have a lot more incentive than some of these other guys to take it home. Especially too with him qualifying at the 10 spot. I mean, he's going to be right up there. And depending on his strategy that him and his crew chief are going to take, they could take some calculated risks that normally they would not take to get a nice lead. Going out of the sprint chase, starting the sprint chase. But I'm not personally on Jeff Gordon this week. But I as a NASCAR enthusiast and as a fan, I would not, love nothing more. Maybe not to win this race, but I would love nothing more to see than Jeff Gordon actually the last year he races take home the Sprint Cup championship. That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, maybe this is a foolish pick, but sometimes you just want to ride with the right bet and that nice bet, and I think that's where it's at today. Because
Sure.
he wins, I not only do I make money, but I get that feel good run too. So
yeah, and I guarantee you too. I don't think as far as the other players are going to be. I think he's going to be a semi low percentage guy, like maybe less than 20%. So
which might help get me on that island. All right, Lear, who's your next burner rubber pick?
My second burning rubber guy is a JGR driver. And it's number 11 FedEx Denny Hamlin. Hamlin starts off the Chicago Raceway in the 11th spot as far as the chase is concerned. So, he's number 11. He's starting 11th in the chase. I don't know if there's any ambiance or semblance there, but, thought I might just go with it. But this weekend, obviously no qualifying. He's starting back in the 29th position. So that is one aspect why I picked him as one of my burning rubber guys, because I truly love the aspect of him starting in the 29th position for one of the main stable JGR guys. Obviously he's got the equipment. He recently tore his ACL playing basketball, but is still driving, to win the championship. But since he's starting so late, I mean, he's going to be an awesome place differential guy this week. And depending on strategy, I look for him and his crew chief, Dave Rogers, to make some bold calls here at Chicagoland and try to take this one home and try to get him up front. But historically here at Chicago, Hamlin's had some mixed results. Starting in the last 4 races, he started 27th, 8th, 22nd, and 24th. So, mid-20s in the starting pack, and then, a couple higher in starting positions as well, with finishes 31st, 16th, 33rd, and 6th. So also some mixed results there. So last year, he started 24th and finished 6th. I look for him to basically do the same exact thing here. And his price point is $9,400. So he's not going to kill you when it comes to his price point. And, getting one of the main guys as far as the late stars starting that late, I'm just all over that. I have to be. And I'm sure a lot of other people probably will be too. So
on my lineup, kid you not, you didn't know that, on my lineups for this week on DraftKings, I love it. I don't understand why people would be off of him. He's a good driver, and he's got the best equipment in NASCAR. And what's funny, dude, is his teammates all qualified well above him. Like,
Yeah,
but somehow, like, I think they were just trying stuff out on the track for the team. I think they know how those team setups work. They're all the same cars, right? Like,
right.
so once they get one of them good, they try other things. Like, how about we have you running these lines and see if they're quicker, see what the
Yeah,
tire wear is, and from what I saw from practice, that's looked what JGR Racing was doing. They knew where they
and,
had to.
and yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, they knew when they were running well, and so they had Denny's car set up differently, and they were running it on different lines. That's what I noticed in practice. And what was funny is they ran out of time. That storm front moved through. They thought originally they were going to get qualifying in, so they were going to have plenty of time to switch the qualifying trim. Well, they pulled Denny off the track, tried to put the qualifying trim on, and send him out with like like he had a time to turn one last lap, and it wasn't very good. And that's that's where he's
Yeah.
at. So
And with the whole team concept that you're talking about too, with with this being the first race of the chase, these all the JGR guys are going to do that because Joe Gibbs is telling these guys, hey, as far as driver capabilities, you guys are all different, but we're together, we're working here as a team. He wants to take home the owner championship as well, and also have one of his drivers take home the Sprint Cup championship. So he's going to have all his guys be working together as well and all their pit crews.
as good as these cars are, as good as the pit crews have been looking, and as good as the drivers have been looking, I think he gets both done this year. And that's why, you're gonna see, like, for a lot of the chase, I'm gonna be on the JGR cars because I just think they're gonna get it done.
Yeah, and I've got two of them on my lineup, my lug nut lineup. So.
Yep, I'm rolling three, I believe. So yeah. All right. But before we get to those lineups, it is time for us to give the going to the garage pick. And my first going to the garage is Brian Scott. And most of you are probably like, well, he's a good source of value. If I'm going to plug and play him, he's cheap. He qualified well. But that's the reason why I have him going to the garage. There is zero chance he pays off where he qualified at in the 20th spot. I just don't see him being able to hang. Uh, I'm sorry, in the 21st spot. There's zero chance that he can hang with those guys there. He's going to fall back. That's going to cost you points. And I don't care how cheap a guy is, if he takes you into the negative points, you're auto drawing dead on cashes and GPPs. So that's why I'm off of him. I think it's an easy fade this week. You got anything to add there, Larry?
Yeah, I mean, as far as somebody like this is clearly a way over qualification here. Small race team, and I just don't see him staying anywhere near the 20 spot. I mean, he's going to lose at least 15 spots. If you want to take that chance, I mean, it's completely up to you. But I would not play this guy whatsoever.
I guarantee he loses one at least to Hamlin.
Oh yeah, exactly.
No, I know it's kind of an easy cop out, guys, but as cheap as he is, it's sexy. So I just avoid
and
it.
most weeks, you guys know out there that we are the type of individuals that we do want to pick somebody with a name. Most times we do. Like last week, Papa picked Kevin Harvick. So it's not every week that we pick some of the late guys to go to the garage. So
I just think
this week,
with the chase, you're tempted, and you'll see this from my lineup. I went very studs, duds, and approach, like to get the studs I wanted, to get those JGR guys under the hood.
But the way it's compromised is it's almost one of those things where you have to go stud dud this week.
Yeah, you really do. And then when you're going dud, that's why I'm giving this like as a fade. You don't want to go for Brian Scott because it's going to cost you points. There are better duds. There are better lesser tier drivers in the stud duds approach that I would feel way more comfortable rolling out with. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Lear, who's your going to the garage this week?
My going to the garage guy this week is a guy that I've loved all season. He's been one of the guys, majority percentage-wise, has been in my lineups from week to week. But going with Ryan Newman here. He also is a driver that did make the chase, from this year in 2015, the 14th spot out of 16. He's had some mixed results this year, obviously, kind of like some of these other drivers where he started high and finished low and started low and finished high. But he's produced some really good points, especially because of his price point. Normally he's around a $7,000 guy. So he's one of those guys that you can always get when he starts late, get for a decent price. And just based off of who he is and the vehicle, the RCR guard that he's driving, that he's going to finish pretty well. But this week he's starting at the 6th spot, and I'm not really comfortable with the fact with him starting that high. And I just don't have the confidence that he can stay up front with the rest of these other guys. His cost is $7,700, so it's up a little bit from his normally usual price point. And so a lot of people, I think, will be on him just because where he qualified and his price point. So I think this is a swerve for me that I don't share with this guy with anybody else that'll be playing in the fields. And I just don't have the confidence in him to stay up front. I'm basically off Newman because I feel like he's just going to fall back, lose you points, even though he looks like a good value play. So I'm definitely thinking he's going to finish within the teens, possibly even the earlier 20s. So, but at that point, I'm fading him altogether.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that fade either. It's so tricky when we get qualifying washed out because you really don't know, and the teams weren't necessarily running for practice being the qualifier because, like I said, they were all surprised. This storm moved on them really fast. They originally thought they were going to be able to get it all in, but yeah, on weeks like that, you have to take some risks, and so far I like the risks that you and I have taken this week. And they may pay off, they may not pay off, but that's the way the cookie crumbles in daily fantasy. But with that said, let's go to the segment here where we give you an actual lineup that we have running in a contest. We're the only site that does that. Something we pride ourselves on. And if you enter the 5K lug nut, you'll see this lineup in there for me, and you'll hear Lear's lineup in there for him. I start off with Kyle Busch at the 10-6. It's no surprise. You all know my love for that crispy M&M's car, even though I hate crispy M&M's. I then go with Carl Edwards at 9,600. The Missouri boy is hot. I love the JGR cars. I don't think there's anything more that needs to be said there. You got anything else there?
As far as Carl Edwards?
Yeah, I mean, he qualified lower than what he should have. I've got the ability to move up.
I have him as well on my team, so I'll talk about him when it's my turn.
That's hilarious. I'll let you say that for you then. Then I went with Denny Hamlin, and you already covered why we want to be on Hamlin this week. I added Jeff Gordon as my 4th driver. He's 8,400, as we talked about earlier. And then the 2 guys that I value bought were DiBenedetto, who constantly is getting that 25-point mark that you need, and Alex Bowman.
Especially for a low guy.
Yeah, and Alex Bowman.
He's always going to be a lower guy.
They just don't tend to fall back. They tend to stay right where they're at. They gain decent points. They take advantage of wrecks when they can. They're out to get the finish. They're not out to get places, and as long as they can do that without falling back, they put up their points. And if the top part of my lineup hits, that's the ability to win in GPP this week.
Yeah, got to have those fillers.
Yeah, so those are the 2 I went with. Lear, what does your lineup look like?
So my lineup this week for the 5K lug nut, I actually got into 5K this week instead of getting into 500 last week in Vegas from doing it so late. But first 2 guys, burning rubber guys, Keselowski at the 10,400 price point. And then I'm rolling with Denny Hamlin at 9,400. My 3rd guy this week is a guy that local guy from around here. He's from Kansas, Clint Boyer in the number 15. He's also another chase guy. He's got the last chase spot in the 16th spot, and he's only $7,900. So look for him to be aggressive as he has a chance to take a championship as well, obviously. And as being a free agent going into next season, that's going to be key for him to prove to these other owners that he can be one of the guys that, 1, makes a chase, but 2, I think he wants to throw it in the face of the rest of NASCAR and say, look, I knew my team was going to be folding, and I still went out there and busted my butt and won a championship. So I think he's, during these next races, during the championship for the Cup, he's going to be a guy that's going to be sneaky play. He starts this week at 26th spot, so, he's a great place differential guy. and really does well at these 1.5-mile tracks. So really like me some Clint Boyer this week.
Yeah, the only problem with Boyer is whether or not his equipment will be set up right for this race.
Yeah.
With the team folding, you always worry that they're not getting the tech specs up to where they should be for these races, and that might keep them on the losing end of these races. But that's my concern. But everything else you said, I completely agree with.
Okay. And then my fourth guy this week is Eric Amarola, the number 43. Amarola is $7,000 this week, so he's a good. He's not too cheap, but he's not too expensive. He has a nice point of races in DraftKings as far as being one of the guys that people pick to be one of those plug-in guys, and he's done as far as a lot of people taking down these contests. He's been one of the guys that they plug and play, and he's performed well. He's been a good cost-effective guy, and has had a lot of top 10 finishes. I look for him to do the same this week as he starts in the 20th spot. So it's not that sexy of a starting spot for him, but it's still low enough to where he could come up. And on top of that, I think too, a lot of people will think, he qualified too low, so I'm going to stay off of him. So I think he also could be a guy that, as far as percentage owned, could make a difference for you as well. So like me some Amarola at 7,000.
Nice.
And then Papa and I, guy that we share together, Columbia Carl Edwards, 9,600. Edwards is a guy that has a great chance to win the Sprint Cup this year with his first year with JGR. He starts 14th this week. Will be up, moving up throughout the race. He starts 8th in the chase. And his entire team has really been putting it together lately of this last month. Him and his crew chief, Darren Grubb, they're on the same page. And I look for him to make a run for the championship, man. And it starts tonight. And I look for them to take that momentum that they've had and keep it going through the chase. But I definitely look for him to have a top 5 finish this week, along with leading some laps for sure. And basically starting at about the midpoint of the race. And look for him there at the end to possibly take it home. So.
Well, dude, and something else that not a lot of people know that weren't paying attention to NASCAR. A lot of the teams were talking smack on JGR this year, during the chase. They were kind of like, well, they should get it done, but will they get it done?
Right.
I don't think they will yet again. And I think that's rubbing the JGR guys the wrong way. And
yeah,
I think in years past the JGR guys have never been this hot and never been this locked down, and so.
No, definitely. I think they're posting the materials on the bulletin board at work when they go in the office every single day. But we both know that's not true. I mean, they go into the garage.
Right. No. But in the garage, there's probably talking smack on JGR.
Oh yeah.
But
my last guy, is one of the guys that you got to fish down and pick up when you put on. At least 3 studs like that on your lineup. And the guy I'm rolling with is Brett Moffitt. Moffitt is my pump play this week due to his minimal cost is only $5,300, which allows me, like I said, to put those big name guys up there. He starts in the 38th spot this week, out of 43. But he could finish, as far as that goes, in the upper 20s, which would be a good place differential for him. Even if he finishes in the lower 30s, like 7 or 8 spots. I mean, if this guy just gets me positive points, I will take it all day long. Just finish the race this week, Brett Moffitt. Please, thank you. I just need all the points you can get me, bud. And just go out there and do the best you can. So.
No, that's exactly what you when you do these value plays, you just pray that they finish the race. Well, actually, you pray that with everybody on your NASCAR lineup.
Sure. But especially these lower tiered guys.
Yeah, because all you are banking on is their ability to finish the race without going backwards. And, most of the time it works out if you pick the right ones, like the ones that don't overqualify. So hopefully that makes us some good money this week. Lear, it was a pleasure doing the show with you, even if we had to do it long distance.
Hey, man. Change it up.
Yeah.
I like this. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm sure you like being the center of attention. No, anyways, guys, my beautiful mug will be back side by side with Lear's next weekend for your action. hopefully we'll be more.
Will we get the glasses back next week too?
Oh yeah, dude. Like, sorry, dude. Between Vegas and I'm just glad to have a voice and be able to see. But the contacts were driving me crazy today. So
yeah. For all you guys too out there that are not only playing NASCAR on DraftKings, but also playing fantasy football on DraftKings as well, we've got our presented by FantasyDonks.com, the ultimate fantasy football three-way.
Oh yeah.
We finished the show last night, so go on FantasyDonks.com, click on the fantasy football icon on the mid left side there next to the NASCAR icon. You can also check it out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. But definitely check it out and get some recommendations for your football lineup as well. We had as far as a group last week, we had a pretty damn good week one. Look for that to also continue into this week too. So
yeah, made several $100. One of our buddies got a team into the Fantasy Feud of Champions last week with some of our recommendations. Really exciting time for football as well as NASCAR. So let's make some money, kids. And like Lear said, remember to share, like, favorite. It helps us out and helps you out by getting this out there quicker and sooner.
Exactly.
Have a good weekend, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And if we're not making the money, we hope it's you.
All right, guys. Have a great weekend. Hope you have fun flipping between the football and the NASCAR tomorrow.
And we're done.